Good morning. I'm Felicity Wilson from the Wadsworth Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here this morning with Tom Stugmyer, one of our council members. And we are doing our series interviewing all of our council people so you can get to know them better. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, and thanks for doing this. I really do appreciate that.
Absolutely. So you got your questions ahead of time, so we'll be we'll be chugging along. Okay. So how long have you been on city council and what is your work background?
Okay, well, we'll start with the work background. I've always been Ohio, grew up in Middletown, Ohio, went to the University of Mount Union, graduated in 1979 with a degree in physics and math, and then took a lot of post engineering classes and spent 34 plus years as a manufacturing engineer in two different manufacturing shops in the Akron area. And then when that area transitioned out in 2013. I came downtown and was working with us to design. I'd always done industrial commercial photography, more of the scientific type end. And so kind of continued that there. We did a lot of TV commercials and things like that. Along with, and then Joe and Susan Arpad had several years previous had made an application for a radio station
Oh,
and came to us at that point, Jack and I here at Oz2 Design, and said, "Hey, it's kind of like, it's like the dog that chases the car. We caught it. Now what do we do with it?"
yeah.
And so we helped get that going, and we will be celebrating our 10th year come this June on the radio station. So that's kind of that part of my work history in a nutshell. City Council started, Felicity, back in 2016. Tom Palisak, who was the city council president, passed away. Bob Thurber, who was council at large at the time, moved up into that seat, and then I was appointed to fill his term out, and that was in May of 2016. And I've been fortunate enough to win the election ever since, and so this will be my ninth year here coming up in May of this year.
Wow. And that's interesting about the radio. It feels like it's been here forever,
Oh,
not just 10 years.
yeah,
So,
I know. We do the same thing. It's like, wow, it's been that long. But then when we started documenting, kind of looking back at a lot of the different things that we've done, and it's like, wow, the list is long. So yeah,
yeah,
it,
yeah,
it's
that's
it's
pretty
been
cool.
fun. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Excuse me, which committees have you worked on
Mhm.
and what have you accomplished to enhance the workings of those committees?
Okay, well, I have been on all the committees with the exception of safety. So that would be ways, economic development, and service. I'm currently the chair of the service committee. That happened last year, at the beginning of last year. Bruce Darlington, of course, those aren't shoes you fill. You can take Bruce's place, but you don't fill his shoes. I mean, he
Right.
did a wonderful job for what 20 plus years or whatever
Mhm.
on city council. And so I'm doing that with service now. Again, I was on Ways, and I've been on economic development from day one, and I chaired that committee until I took over service here at the beginning of this year. I've been or I'm currently on the Airport Commission.
Oh,
I was on the Cable Commission, Senior Citizens Commission, the Cemetery Board, as well as Stormwater Commission. I was on Stormwater even before I was on City Council, and so that's been a while there. Now, as far as the committees, I will say service currently, because it's front and center and it's very big,
mhm.
is the opportunity to have been involved from the committee level on the new fiber optic project,
Mhm.
because that is just huge for the
Yeah.
city. I mean I mean, when you're looking at the speeds and the capabilities again for all the households and internet. But the other thing is, as the city grows, all of that communication needs to be done for the city. I mean, with all our own utilities, whether the street department, the electric, and everything else, all of that fiber optic enhances our ability to troubleshoot. We probably know quicker when your power goes out than you
Right.
do, unless you're sitting right next to the light.
Uh,
It's like, like, and it's been a while, but you don't have to call in and say, "Hey, my power's not out." That's already known. But again, that fiber optic really, really enhances that. The other thing that is probably my wheelhouse has been economic development.
Mhm.
I really enjoy that, and I've been involved with the downtown area for quite a while, way back in the '90s. And a couple of things we've been able to do with economic development, with working with other entities. And this is what's neat when the city can reach out and take advantage and help from other organizations. One of the big things was there was some grant money that was given to Heritage Ohio, federal grant money,
Mhm.
and that came through Main Street. It was a
Mhm.
$25,000 facade improvement grant. Well, the city looked at that and said, "Hey, under economic development, if we match that, that makes it 50,000 of actual dollars. And then if that's a 50-50 split, that puts $100,000 worth of facade
Mhm.
renovations into downtown. Whereas opposed to if you just had the 25,000 to work with, even if you did some kind of a split, you're just kind of maybe putting band-aids on a few places where
Mhm.
this could really help the entire area downtown. And so we were, very proud to be able to do that and work with a couple of other entities like that. Now, of course, Main Street did the 90% of the work, but there was a lot of city support when we received the National Historic District designation
Mhm.
downtown, which of course is very important for tax credits and things like that. So the
Mhm.
city can now use, you know, we can now use that tool to promote, growth in the downtown area. Sort of an ancillary thing with those tax dollars is even if you only look at the $25,000 grant that came from Heritage Ohio, um, those tax dollars per Medina County Economic Development bounce around 7 times in the county before they leave the county. And
Mhm.
so that's $175,000 that 25 brought in alone, not just to down, but throughout all the area, all of the painters, the people that bought the paint, the workers and things like that. So there's a lot of things that aren't direct benefits of something like that that help the economy in Wadsworth.
Right. Wonderful. That's awesome. Um, Question number three. Wait,
Mhm.
no, yes, three.
Yeah,
Wow, that
okay.
was quick. What is your vision for Wadsworth? And yeah, what is your vision for Wadsworth?
Well, I like, and again, I mentioned I have that strong manufacturing
Mhm.
background, and I've always felt that manufacturing is a big part of any area's economy.
Mhm.
I mean, I could do your dry cleaning, you could cut my grass, but then at the end of the day, you've got clean clothes and I've got a mowed lawn, but there's
Right.
nothing really generated in the economy. That manufacturing base is strong. And
Mhm.
as I did a little bit of traveling in those 30 some years in the Midwest and the eastern part of the United States. A lot of the companies that, manufacturing that we went to that we were even either doing work for or vice versa,
Mhm.
a lot of them were in little small towns and they were big corporations. And you're having lunch or whatever. And it's like, well, why are you here? Why do you stay here? And they said, well, look around. They said, our people like to be here
Right.
you know uh and so my vision is a strong downtown. Now
Mhm.
again, you need everything. You need parks, you need the
Mhm.
services, you need utilities and everything else. But again, my vision is to have that strong downtown. And I was a big part of both. We've done what, two different downtown sort of renovation plans in the
Mhm.
past from 2014, and we're going to be redoing the more recent one for the infrastructure and everything down here. And when you look forward to that, that's not just a 5-year plan. The last time downtown was renovated was back in the early '80s.
Mhm.
So what we have to do when we look at the infrastructure is how big do you build it to try and figure out what you might need 15, 20 years from now?
Right.
Cell phone, nobody had a cell phone back in 1980.
Right.
And so you have to try
Mhm.
and look at all that because the economy is going to change. People don't have to come downtown anymore to sustain life. You used to,
Yeah.
come down here for your pharmaceuticals, for your clothes, for your
Mhm.
grocery. You don't need to do that anymore. But to maintain a strong economy, you have to have you have to have a strong downtown.
Mhm.
And so my vision is to make sure that as we continue to develop downtown, that is, our generation hands that off to the next one, that foundation is there, for those businesses to build or
Mhm.
change their structure. You don't need a meat market there anymore. You have a clothing store or a restaurant.
Yeah.
So gosh, if we didn't put something in for a restaurant, then they couldn't, infrastructure wise, then they couldn't do that. So that's kind of my vision as far as, really helping the economy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. And what is your city council legacy to
Oh,
Wadsworth?
yeah, this was kind of a tough one,
Yeah.
but it maybe out in the weeds first a little bit. Um, I I like what I bring to the table as far as my involvement, even outside of city council, in the community. Very involved in the schools, very involved, Village of St. Edward,
Mhm.
the senior citizens, the Wadsworth older adults, many groups around the area, Salvation Army, those kind of things.
Mhm.
But again, that gives me a good broad sense of, when we're looking at, what's needed downtown. Well, 27% of the population
Mhm.
Medina County is now senior citizens.
Mhm.
Well, again, going back to the last question, and is, what needs can be met because that population is growing. They're staying here for a reason.
Right.
And that reason either is got to be something that's really happening in Wadsworth and Medina County, but we have to be sure that that continues. So that's part of it. But the rest of it I would have to go back almost to the other question is I would, I guess, kind of like my legacy to be that, you know the downtown, that a big supporter of the downtown area. Jack Allam always said that, the downtown's where we celebrate, where we remember our past and celebrate our future.
Mhm.
And all of our gatherings downtown, whether it's for a memorial service or celebrating a basketball state championship,
Mhm.
they're all done down here on the square. And
Mhm.
again, being involved in that since the late 90s, and literally right over my shoulder here, looking out, on the square, my
Right.
heart's in that. My heart is
Yeah.
in that. So I would like that. I would say that would be my legacy.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Tom. And I really, as we've been sitting here talking, I've been staring at the nice green trees
Oh,
and I'm wishing that it was nice and warm
yeah,
like that right
yeah. That
now. But
that obviously isn't the current background because, yeah, but that,
yeah, yeah, it's
that,
a little whiter right now, but that's
yeah, it's a, yeah,
okay.
it looks
Well,
a little bit wider out there
yeah.
right now. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Tom. I really appreciate the time you sat down with me,
Mhm.
and we'll be getting this out into the newsletter and out for the world to see and get to know you better. So
Well,
I really appreciate it.
thank you, again, for your time. And again, the Wadsworth Area Chamber of Commerce. I was on the board there for, 6 years, and of course, I know all the great work you do. And this is another great service of course, that you're able to provide for the city. So thanks again. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.